Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speaks, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com right now. Check out the blog section. Of course, check out the merchandise section as well. Of course, if you're over here on youtube.com/Man Hour, you become a member today. As little as $2.99 a month, you get access to the after show. You get access to behind-the-scenes footage. Of course, all access to the Man Hour crew themselves. Of course, you got the $5.99 deal as well. You get a free t-shirt after 6 months. And then for the $9.99 deal, you get a hoodie every year you are a member with the Man Hour. But let's go ahead and welcome the man, the myth, the legend himself, Brandon B.C. Combs. What's going on, Combsy?
What is going on, Buck? What's going on, Man Hour Nation, Big X Radio? Man, it feels good to be back on this damn show, man.
Yeah, like sometimes, Combs, like of course, you've been busy with work and life, but like sometimes you just need to take a step back and like recharge the old batteries and get that fire back. And I can see that in your eyes. Like you had the fire tonight. Your Cubs aren't doing very, 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 very well. The Bears are going to make a horrible draft pick in a few days, so I feel like you're going to have a lot of rage coming out of your microphone later today.
There might be some yelling going on tonight. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, look, like you said, the Cubs aren't doing well. Nico Hoerner, though, has been a bright spot since he's come back. He's still on fire. I love watching that kid play baseball. But you're right. I mean, look, they're down right now to the Braves 4-0. They gave up 4 runs in the first inning, so it's tough to watch sometimes.
See, it is funny because I have a Braves fan at work as too. Shout out to Mike over there at the old IT department. He is the guy that trained me, and he is a Braves fan. And he was saying the same exact thing as like you are. Like, I'm so depressed with my Braves. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, dude, they scored like 15 runs versus the Cubs. And then he's like, well, true, but then we gave up like 14 like the next day. So I mean,
that series was a good series. It did, man. I mean, the Cubs won 13-4 one day, then lost 13-4 the next, and you know the Braves haven't been the Braves. They haven't been as good. There's a lot of teams in baseball that haven't been as good as I thought they would be early. So
yeah, obviously it is still young season. There's still a lot of baseball to play. Definitely time to turn it around. So
speaking as not as good as I thought they were, where's Wyatt?
There he is. There's the Wyatt Williams at manhour_TWW. Wyatt, what's going on, man? How's your day?
Oh, it was good, man. Just had school, came home and napped. I mean, it's about as dangerous as I really got. I mean,
so you go to school for 6 hours, you come home and you nap, and then you get to be on the Man Hour?
Why?
Pretty
you
much.
know what I did today?
Wow.
I woke up at 5 o'clock for work. I left my house at 5:45 for work. I clocked out of work at 6
a.m.
and then came home and ate my dinner while I prepped with you guys in the background. So,
yep.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I haven't had dinner yet. I mean, at least
that doesn't make me feel better at all, Wyatt.
Here is my dinner, boys. A bag of Doritos.
Yeah, that's a dinner of champions right there.
Yeah, so
is that party size, man? How many Doritos you eating?
Oh, well, the bag's gone, so you tell me. No, that's so we buy like 3 or 4 bags of chips like every month, and you know it lasts us like all a month. But so let me ask you this question, Combs. Do you guys got a White Castle up there?
Oh my God! Yes, I had that for dinner last night. Actually,
Dude, stop it. I had White Castle for dinner last night. Stop it. You're joking right
I
now.
swear to God, I did.
I swear on my mother's life, I had White Castle for dinner last night.
So Cindy and the boys had White Castle tonight for supper too. So apparently this
Oh my
is like a
God.
White Castle reunion.
The worst part about White Castle is that the next day it smells like White Castle.
Oh, dude. I was at school all day, right? And I am like, I do
God.
not.
I'd hate to be
Fart.
the guy who sits behind you.
I do not fart in school. I don't use the restroom in school. Nothing. Like
What?
the whole public restrooms just
Dude,
are
there's
so nasty.
no way you don't fart in school the day after eating Whitey's.
Bro,
There's a
I-
reason why
I-
they call those burgers sliders.
I held it the whole day. My stomach started hurting. My stomach literally started hurting.
Dude.
I'm telling you.
No,
I got in the car
Look,
today riding
I'm
home.
not holding it in at work, man. I'm telling you right now, I'll clear out the office. I ain't
Dude,
scared.
I got in the car today and like the seat cover started melting behind me because
I'm
I
sure.
just let a full day's work just let her eat, man.
Chris
let her
Bryant
run.
just hit a game-tying grand slam. It's 4-4. Sorry.
I saw that was a
cut you
nice one. 358.
So
Jeez.
so basically you guys love your White Castle, right? I mean, like you think the White Castle is the greatest thing since sliced bread?
So like I'm weird. Like White Castle, I've got to have White Castle like once a year. That's when it's good to me. I can't have it a lot, but if I have it like once a year, that's perfect.
Do you want
That's
to know
all
why?
I need. Why?
White Castle is the most overrated restaurant in all of America.
Nope, Raising Cane's. No way.
it's-
Raising Cane's is the most overrated restaurant on planet Earth. Chick-fil-A.
And with that being said, Raising Cane's is not overrated at all. Come on.
I don't like Raising
Chick-
Cane's that much either. I think they're overrated too.
Yes! I love
Yeah.
you, Combsy. Yes, sir.
You know what else is an overrated chicken sandwich? Is Popeyes. The Popeyes chicken sandwich is very overrated.
Stop. Combs, I feel like we're the same person here. We got to stop this, man. Is Chick-fil-A goated? Do you love Chick-fil-A?
Oh, yeah, dude. And when I have the waffle fries, I have to have the barbecue sauce to dip the waffle fries in.
Oh, see, I don't get barbecue. I get the Chick-fil-A sauce, but that's fine because barbecue there is good as well. But their Chick-fil-A sauce, you give me a Chick-fil-A sandwich, some of those waffle fries, and some Chick-fil-A sauce. That is the key to
That's-
my heart.
that's
That is how
Aubrey's
Nikki
favorite,
got
man.
me. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I pay her to stay around.
because she's the only girl that's ever responded to you when you've
That's
talked to her.
that's true. That is true. I have to pay her $10 a month.
So Wyatt, let me ask you this. So
She's way too hot for me.
Yeah,
That's true.
She is definitely way too hot. And
You
and
definitely
she drives you
outkicked
around
her
like a
coverage
little
on
Dude,
that
shit.
one.
my friend's mom told me one day, he was like, do you have her like shackled up at home? Because it just doesn't make sense. I was like, oh, thanks.
I've told you before to tell her that if she needs help, just to get on camera and blink twice, and we'll send help.
So true story, Wyatt. Here, me and you ate lunch on Tuesday, and you were about 10 minutes late coming to lunch.
No, I was 1 minute late. I got
Are
there
you-
1 minute late.
Are you consistently late to everything?
No, I am
Yes.
not. No. I am
Okay,
not.
so true or false, Mr. D. Wyatt Williams at @man_TWW. Were you over a half hour late to your own friend's birthday party?
How do you know this? No, I told you
true
this
or
last
false?
night. I told you that last night. Gosh dang it. That's true. That's true.
Wyatt, look,
True or
There's
false?
the-
You don't
the
wake
one
up
thing that I've
before
always
2
taken with
o'clock on
me-
Saturdays.
the one thing I've always taken with me from the Marine Corps is if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to like I would never be late to like this show or a broadcast, like something like that, unless
Hey.
if something like terrible happened.
Nana
what
just
time does
threw you
pre-show
under the
start?
bus, man.
7:40.
7:30.
7:30. And okay, no. We'll give you 7:40. Let's say pre-show starts at 7:40. What time did you show up today?
7:40.
It was like 7:46, 7:47. somewhere in there. Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So why? One thing you need to learn about, being a man, for one, you poop in a public place any chance you get.
No.
Because if you are getting paid, I'm getting paid to poop. I am pooping out like at work 100% of the time, all the time.
What's
Number
that saying, Buck? Something about a nickel and a dime. I poop on company time or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100% truth on that. And then number two is you learn how to be punctual. You need to learn how to be on time to things, aka at least 5 to 10 minutes early, always.
I will be from now on. You have my word.
Okay, so 426 at 8:10 p.m. here on Man Hour Nation, youtube.com/Man Hour. Wyatt says he will never be late again. 427 at 8:15. School.
Are we playing Liar
starts at
Liar
8.
right
Wyatt
now?
is just-
Because that's clearly one of the lies.
Probably.
so Nana said Combs his papa said the exact same thing about being 15 minutes early as being
Yep.
on time.
Yeah.
So
He said if you're 30 minutes early, you're early. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time.
You're
and
on
if you're on
time.
time, you're late.
Yeah. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
So, guys, here in the chat, who here is that type of person? Or like, are you punctual? Are you always early to something? Mean like 10 to 15 minutes early, or are you like Wyatt and always at least 2 minutes late to everything?
My shift starts at 7. I'm always at the office by 6:30.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What?
Dude, look, man. There are two things in life you need to know about being an adult, Wyatt. Once you get a real job, for one, you dress for the part that you want, not the part that you have.
Dress for success.
And two, you always are the first one there and the last one to leave. That's how you get ahead.
Well, that's what, like, I am that way with, like, broadcasting stuff. Like, I'm always the, I'm always the first one in the studio and stuff every day.
So okay,
Like, I feel like-
okay, so hang on.
No,
so
you
you're
weren't
saying
today.
So you're saying lunch with me wasn't as important as broadcasting?
No,
huh?
I'm not.
That's what I got out of it, right, Combs?
And you have never been the first one here for any of the prep, ever.
I used to
It's
be all
either
the
me or
time.
Buck.
I used to be all the time.
Then what
Oh,
happened?
okay.
Then I stopped because everybody was showing up at 40, and now that I show up at 40, everybody throws up at 30.
So let's go ahead and jump into the comments here. Stacy says, I am always early. Nana says, I am always just like early.
Nana is
Tori
early
always
all the time.
says he is always early. But then Drew wants to come in and say, I'm with Wyatt.
Let's go, Drew.
So that's why Drew is over on Facebook, guys, and not on the YouTube channel because he's always late, right? No, I'm totally kidding. So speaking of being late here, Madison Bumgarner, guys, threw a perfect or a complete game shutout. It wasn't a perfect game because there was an error, but it is not going to go in as a record book as a no-hitter or a complete game because it was only a 7-inning baseball game. However, with the rules that have been adjusted when we play double hitters, we only play 7 innings now. So therefore, it counts as a full win. It counts as a full loss. Your batting average counts as like a full game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We kind of touched on this just a tad bit last night. But Combs, you are the baseball connoisseur. How do you think about this complete game, no-hit complete game for Madison Bumgarner, that it isn't going to go in the record books as a complete no-hitter?
If this isn't a no-hitter and you don't think this is a no-hitter, you're an idiot. Okay, because let me ask you a question, Buck. If you're playing in a game and it's bad weather, but you get through 5 innings, right? They consider that a complete game, do they not? And they call the game after 5? As long as the home team is winning? Correct? So
Say that again. I'm sorry.
if you're in a game and it's raining and it's after the 5th inning and the home team is winning and they decide to call the game, that's a complete game, correct?
I believe so, yes.
If you're in that game and you have a hit streak going, but you're 0 for 2 in that game, that's the end of your hit streak, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so last year they played 60 games, right? Only 60 games in a shortened season? Mm-hmm. They had a World Series and a champion, correct?
Right.
So how can baseball say, all right, so, shortened games count, shortened seasons count, but now because he was in a 7-game doubleheader, we're not going to count it as a no-hitter? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
How
it's
do you
like
not count it? It was a complete game. It was a no-hitter. And you shortened the game to 7 innings, not Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I don't
When
understand
here's
how
the
that
thing
doesn't count.
too. Question for you guys, it's a math question. So 7/9 is 7. It's .7777 continued, right? does it go in the win book? Does it go in the record book as a .777 or does it go in as a 1?
So back in 1991, from what I've heard through the grapevine, and I'm just regurgitating what I heard here, is that if a game doesn't go 9 innings, just like what Combs said, if it was like it ran out after the 6th inning or 5th inning, it goes in as the record book as a significant game, a significant complete game. It doesn't go in as a no-hitter. It doesn't go in as a perfect game. It is a significant game. That's it. So it's kind of like putting the asterisk by it more.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like in the record book, in the win and loss column, it's not. It doesn't go in as a .7777 continue,
no,
does it?
It goes in as
it
a
goes
win.
in as a 1.
Right.
So therefore, that means it's a full and complete game.
Yeah.
So if you pitch a no-hitter through 4 innings
Right.
and they call the game after, if you pitch it through 1 inning and they call the game after, if it can go in the win and loss column,
you have to play 5.
well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but if it goes in the win and loss column as a win or loss, as a 1 in either column, then it should be a no-hitter.
And like I said, if anybody was playing in that game yesterday, they're only playing 7 innings. If you're 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 with a walk or 0 for 2 with a walk, that's the end of your hit streak. So that counts towards that streak. It counts for any other record that's going. So you're going to tell me it counts for every other record except for a no-hitter? I mean, that's... I don't know, man. The players were celebrating it like it was a no-hitter. Bumgarner celebrated it like it was a no-hitter. The fans celebrated it like it was a no-hitter.
Because it was a no-hitter.
It's a no-hitter.
No, guys. So the reason why it is not a no-hitter because it's been in the rule book. It's not like they just like pull it out of.
It's also in the rule book that you play 9-inning double headers.
True,
but they've shortened that because of COVID. Like that's not. I don't know. I don't get it. I get the premise of like he didn't do it in 9 innings. But so what? So you still to me. I mean, when you're looking at it right now, who's the defending World Series champion?
Dodgers.
Okay. So are they still the World Series champion? They played 60. They only played 60 games to win a World Series.
Right.
Do they? Yeah. I mean, so then technically they're not the World Champions because they didn't play as many games as the rest of the teams that have won a World Series.
So Combs, let me ask you this question here. Let's say a pitcher doesn't pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. So technically that pitcher only throws 8 complete innings, but has a perfect game through through the 9th inning, and they didn't have to play that bottom of the 9th. Does that count as a perfect game, or is that still just a significant game? Because technically they could have got 3 hits, right?
Well, you always have to play if you're pitching in the 9th inning, because then you're pitching the top of the 9th inning.
Right.
So you're still pitching 9 innings.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was thinking the home team. Yeah.
But if they bring in because you've thrown 160 pitches and your arm's about to fall off, so they bring in a relief pitcher. They just call that a joint no hitter or a joint perfect game, and we've had that plenty of those. And I just I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the ruling. I don't like the message that MLB is trying to convey because they just contradict themselves. And Rob Manfred is a freaking moron.
Bingo.
Best commissioner in all of sports, right, guys?
Moron.
All right, guys. So we're up against our first break here. On the other side of the break, we're going to dive deep into the NFL draft. We got some comments coming across here on the board, guys. We're going to address those as well. So, guys, definitely keep the comments coming. Engage with each other. Have great conversations. As Tori says, Manfred for president here. So we're going to go ahead and mute him before he gets too carried away here. But, guys, we'll be right back here on the Man Hour live, Raw Uncut Sports Talk. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeye along with Brandon Combs and the White Williams tonight at @manhour_Combs, at @manhour_TWW, and of course you can follow me at @manhour_Buck. But before we get into the next segment, Combs, tell the people about Angel with an A that is just a few days away.
Yeah, so Angel with an A Memorial Motorcycle Ride for Angela Dewey, $25 per rider. You also get every $25 buys you another card. Top 10 poker hands win a prize. All proceeds go to a scholarship fund in Angela Dewey's memory. Every $250 donated by Man Hour listeners, Man Hour will donate an additional $25. If you want to donate, just contact Jesse Dewey at Jesse_Dewey@yahoo.com. Guys, this is a really good cause just around the corner. I know it's going to be a little chilly up in Vermont on May 1st, but you know it's a good cause. There's still going to be lots of riders that are planning on going. I believe they've got over 100 riders right now in this thing.
Awesome.
So it's huge. So if you're a motorcycle rider, you want to take the trip, look, Vermont, that's the one thing about Vermont. I'll never want to move back there, but it's very beautiful up in that part of the country for sure.
The entire Northeast coast is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great for motorcycle rides. So
Except for Jersey, right? I mean, there's a reason why the Statue of Liberty faces the opposite way.
Exactly.
well, Jersey's not in the Northeast,
Yeah, that's true too.
so
It's pretty close, isn't it?
no.
It's north.
It's more like just east.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the Man Hour. If you're going to miss any part of the show whatsoever, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, and now Amazon Music as well. Or if you like to watch the videos of us, youtube.com/Man Hour, you can head over to there, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and you get a notification every time we upload a new clip. We try to clip out every part of the show that we talk about, different segments and transitions. So if you want to hear about how bad the Chicago Bears are going to suck this year, you look at the clips and Chicago Bears suck, and then bada bing, bada boom, there's about a 5-10 minute clip there of us talking about the Chicago Bears, mainly Combs going off on how bad Virginia and Rob Pace are like doing there, right, Combs?
Don't get me started. Don't do it to me.
All right, guys. So the NFL draft is 3 days away. April 29th is the official first round here, and the number one overall pick is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they are going to draft Zach Wilson per Chris Sims. So first things first, guys, let me ask you this question. With the draft just days away, why I'm going to kick it to you first. Who is the biggest riser in the NFL draft so far?
Oh man, that's a good question. I would say since we've got the whole draft kicked off?
Right, yeah. So many people are seeing, Mac Jones climb up the board, he was projected to be the 5th quarterback, and now he's possibly the second one going off the board.
Yeah, so I think, Mac Jones is a really good candidate for that, because Mac Jones, when it first started out, they were projecting him to be a, second round pick, early second round, maybe even late first. Now he's jumped his way all the way up to 3. So I don't think he should go there, but he's jumped his way all the way up there. Another one to look at is Davis Mills out of Stanford, the quarterback there. He has made some incredible jumps. He was actually in the first mock draft put out for this class. He was a 7th round pick projected, and he's jumped his way all the way up to an early second, late first. So that's a huge jump as well. There's been a lot of guys that have kind of, skewed all over the place, but I think those are the two candidates that come to mind. Davis Mills making the biggest jump, but I would say Mac Jones made the most significant jump because he ended up landing in the top. He'll end up going in the top 5.
So way to take my player and make it into your own. Combs, who is your biggest draft riser?
To be honest with you, I was gonna go with Davis Mills too, but I'm gonna have to go with I'm going to go with the team here, because I really do, and I know people are going to call me a homer for this, but I think the Bears are going to trade up, and I think that they are going to do so by giving away a very big-name player, which we'll talk about here in a little while. But that's who I think is going to rise the most in the draft. I really think that the Bears are going to move up. Do I think that they're going to make the right pick? Probably not, because that's not Ryan Pace's forte. He will get fleeced in a trade, and then he will trade all the way up to 8 and draft Davis Mills.
Yeah, so I am kind of glad you both went like quarterback. With the Mills guy from Stanford. I have seen some people say he is projected to go in the first round now, which that would be huge for him because he was projected to go third and fourth round here just a few weeks ago. But another quarterback here, let's go ahead and stay in Power 5 conferences that's been overlooked, is Kellen Mond, the quarterback from Texas A&M. He reminds me so much of Dak Prescott, not like the intangibles, but just being overlooked because he was at Texas A&M. I believe they beat LSU this season, right, guys? I mean, they were a damn good football team, and they're ranked. They were just outside of the playoffs, as well. And usually a quarterback leads you to those thoughts, and Kellen Mond was the quarterback for A&M. Why?
Yeah, well, you mentioned. You think of him not just as a player. I think of him as a player whenever I think of him and Dak Prescott. I think that they're extremely the same because they both got big, powerful bodies. They can run past you, but they can also throw it over your head. Yes, he's been overlooked in a sense, and that reminds me of Dak Prescott. But like I say, even their play style, I think that they're extremely similar. I think they initially almost mirror each other, especially at the college game when they were headed into the league. So I think that's a great one for you.
And Jalen Phillips is another guy that I was thinking of too out of Miami. I mean, he wasn't really projected to go too high when the first mock drafts were coming out, and now he's looking at maybe late first round, early second round as an edge rusher out of Miami. That kid's stock has risen dramatically too.
I saw a mock earlier with he was going, I think it was like 15th overall. Like they've got him as a mid first now too. And the reason why Jalen's risen so much is because Gregory Rose. I'm gonna totally botch the last name here. Rosu, I believe it is.
Welcome to my world.
Exactly. Gregory Rosu has dropped down so much. He's the other end, of course, out of Miami. And Jalen has kind of shown, what he can do, and he's risen a whole lot too.
Yeah.
So one also quarterback name that I want to throw out there to you guys. Very, very few people have heard of this guy at all. Only the hardcore draft people have really heard of this name. So get out your Google fingers here, guys, and look up the name Jamie Newman. He is a quarterback from Wake Forest. He's projected to go about the 5th or 6th round pick. But you guys want player comparisons, and we're always looking for that next GOAT, right? This is Tom Brady S written all over it. This guy, I saw him play versus Louisville a couple years ago. And he lit Louisville up. Yes, Louisville was down, but I mean they scored 80-some points, in that game, and he had 4 or 5 touchdown passes in that game. And
I don't know about Tom Brady-esque, but I mean that's a very tough comparison to make for anybody.
He is 6'4", 230 pounds coming out of college, and he runs a 4.8. What?
No, and that's great, but that's even another reason why I wouldn't call him Tom Brady-esque, because he's big and he's fast. Tom Brady is not.
4.8's fast? Come on now. Why can run a 4.8?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
No.
But no,
I wish.
I like the kid. I don't like I mean, maybe. I mean, you never know. I mean, nobody would have said when Tom Brady was picked that, oh, hey, this. I mean, I remember watching a couple weeks ago, I watched the draft that Brady got picked, and I was watching Mel Kiper talk about Tom Brady. He's like, hopefully he can, he's got good accuracy and he's, dependable. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but I just don't think he can overcome his immobility. Well, I think he did an all right job at overcoming that immobility. So you never know. But that's just a tall task to put on a kid coming out of college to be Tom Brady.
Buck had to mention whenever he came through and beat Louisville, of course, whenever Juwan passed, the biggest college bust of all time was at quarterback for us. But I'm going to mention this year, I got to watch Newman play in person this year whenever Wake Forest and Louisville squared off. It was not a good game because both teams were so bad, of course. But the quarterback play wasn't bad. I know I liked watching Newman play. Wish Louisville would have played a little better on their side. Hey, still came out with the win though, so I'll take it. But yeah, Newman. I like Newman.
So let me throw another great college quarterback name. Mike LeBlanc is in love with this guy 100%.
Sam Ehlinger.
Texas Longhorn quarterback
Knew you were gonna say that.
Sam Ehlinger. He is projected to go fifth to seventh round. He is basically the 12th quarterback prospect here. Many people are comparing him to Nate Staley from Iowa from last year. Who is that? No freaking clue, right?
That's why they're comparing him to him.
Is it like just but Sam Ehlinger had a great college, like he was arguably the second best, maybe even the best quarterback ever to come out of tech or stat wise in Texas here. I mean,
No, Vince Young. Vince Young blew him out the water. Colt McCoy too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say Ellinger's top 5, but only because he stayed for his senior year.
Well, I mean, stats are what people compare at, when they look down the record books in 4, 5, 6 years. They don't remember that Vince Young was the most electrifying college player ever. They don't remember that.
But they'll see his natty. They'll see that he won a national title.
Right, true. So, do you guys think Sam Ehlinger has a NFL career at all?
Sam Ehlinger is one of those guys, and I've done a lot of research on Sam because I liked Sam a lot last year, and I thought he was going to go to I think if Sam wanted an NFL career at best, or at his best shot, he should have went to the draft last year. But with that being said, I have done a lot of research on this kid, and I can tell you right now, Sam Ehlinger is one of two things. He will get drafted and go somewhere, and he will be a starting quarterback for his entire career, or you will never hear his name again. There will be zero middle of the road. Sam Ehlinger will either be a household name and a guy that everybody is like, oh, I can't believe we missed on him going through the draft. Cough, cough, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, something like that. Not comparing him to them, but just like falling in the draft wise, I'm comparing him to them. He is one of those guys where he will fall super late in the draft and he will surprise everybody, become a starting quarterback, and have a good career, or we will never hear his name ever again in our entire life.
This is the most Wyatt take ever. Okay? This is what Wyatt said in a nutshell. Sam Ehlinger is either going to be good or he's not going to be good. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Thank you. It's a great expert analysis.
But he did kind of say he will not be a career backup like Colt McCoy.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. He's not going to be like a Fitzpatrick, a guy who has had a couple of starting jobs here and there, or and a guy who's in and out of leagues, or a guy who's good for a couple of years and then disappears. He is either going to be a household name for the next 20 years, or you will never hear his name again. That's what I'm saying. He's either going to have a great career or no career. Like, there's no good involved. There's no average. There's no slightly below average. It is either going to be the worst career or a great career.
That's an interesting take.
That's what I'm trying to say.
So speaking of interesting takes here, let's flash back to 2005. I believe you were about 3 or 4 years old, right?
3.
Your Aaron Rodgers fell down to the 25th pick overall in that draft. Just kept falling and falling and falling. So who is a player this year that's just going to keep falling and falling and falling in this year's draft?
Oh, that's a good question. And I think that, going with the quarterback theme of Aaron Rodgers here, I think it's one of the quarterbacks. I think it's one of the 5 quarterbacks that are so heavily sought after right now. I think we definitely have one of those great 5 quarterbacks will slip out of the top 10. I don't think they'll get to the 20s where Aaron was, but I mean, if it had to be somebody, I think it's Justin Fields, because it's either, well, hold on, let me re-say this. It's either Justin Fields or it's Trey Lance, because starting with Trey Lance here, there's so many questions about Trey Lance. The film looks great. The pro day looked great. But at the end of the day, he's playing against FCS talent. He's not playing against Power 5 guys. So that's the question really that everybody's throwing up about Lance. We know the kid can play football, but can he play it at the high level? He's great whenever he's playing Delaware State, but is he going to be great whenever he plays the Dallas Cowboys or, the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers? That's the big question with Trey Lance. Now, when we look at
how much NFL talent was on that North Dakota State team?
Maybe him and maybe one other player.
How much NFL talent was on that Delaware State team?
0.
How much talent is going to be on his NFL team?
All NFL players.
Exactly.
How much is going to be on the defense? All NFL players. So it evens itself out.
Yeah. So therefore, I got to kind of debunk that competition thing just because you are playing the players that you play. You all have an even playing field. It is not like you're with Alabama and you have 13 NFL players on your team versus one, right? So,
yeah. And then the other quarterback is Justin Fields. Justin's a guy who had a great pro day. He stumbled and still ran a sub 4.5 40. He ran a 4.44, and like I said, and stumbled on the first step. He's a guy who went and competed at the highest of levels. He showed that he could do it against incredible defenses. He even in the national championship game, they didn't come away with the result they wanted, but Justin played very well in that game. He also smothered Clemson, played incredibly well in that game as well on hurt ribs as well on this throwing side. So he's shown the toughness as well and the leadership capabilities to be able to push through in those tough situations. But the biggest thing is something that we just saw recently with Justin Fields, and I think it will be the reason why he'll fall, the epilepsy. That is such a scary word for a football player. And I know if it was going to be an issue, we would have already seen something by now. I totally agree with that. I 100% agree with that. But once again, epilepsy ties into seizures. That's a scary thing. If you get hit one good time, you could trigger something like that and end a career. It could potentially be something that's incredibly devastating down the road. So that is going to be the major turnoff we'll see these NFL teams give toward Justin. And I think if Justin falls, that will be the reason why.
So, Combs, let me ask you this question here. What phrase scares you more, epilepsy or a tight end from Florida?
Well, it depends. What do you mean by scares me?
like stuck in a dark alleyway scares me, or exactly. I don't want my quarterback hurt scares me.
Yeah.
So, Combs, who is your player that is falling down that board?
I'm gonna go with quarterback too, but I'm going with a different quarterback that nobody's really mentioning anymore, and that's Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask, when they first started doing these mock drafts, was projected to go, late first round. Now he's expected to go middle third round or early fourth. So it's, he's really fallen off. I don't know why. I like Kyle Trask. I think Kyle Trask is going to be a decent quarterback in this league.
Me too.
I don't understand why he's fallen so far, but, they're seeing something that we're not like normal. I never really understand what the scouts really see in any of these guys, because the scouts that said that Mitch Trubisky was the guy over Deshaun Watson, those guys ought to be canned for life and never be allowed to talk football ever again in their entire life. And then you also look, but it's not just baseball though. You look at scouts, football. You look at scouts in other sports. Who was the guy who said, "Hey, let's not take this Michael Jordan guy. Let's go with Sam Bowie." So scouts are not always perfect. They're not always right, and they get stuff wrong actually a lot. They're a lot like the weathermen of sports. They're allowed to be wrong all the time and still have a job. So I don't understand why he's fallen so far, but Kyle Trask is my guy who has fallen so far in this draft. It's ridiculous.
So my guy that is falling big in this draft, I want to stick with Alabama wide receiver Devontae Smith. Because yes. I think Devontae Smith is kind of a one-trick pony in the NFL. He is going to play that slot receiver, and he's going to run some slants and maybe some digs. But he is not going to be your X receiver running a 20-yard hitch on third down to get you a first down. He is just not that guy. He's like 6 foot tall, 160 some pounds. Yes,
He was pretty
fast.
light.
Yes, he had a great college career. There are many receivers that had great college careers just because when you're faster than everybody else, you can simply run down the field and let Mac Jones throw you a 40-yard bomb, right? In the NFL, it doesn't work like that. I see, because many people, like, why you had Devontae Smith going like 5th or 6th overall, right?
Third to
Third
the Miami Dolphins whenever they were sitting at 3.
It would not surprise me if Devontae Smith fell out of the first round, guys. Just to be flat out honest, it would not.
Hold on. I'm telling you right now, if Devonta Smith gets to that 29th overall pick and Green Bay does not select Devonta Smith, I will be quitting life. I will legitimately
hang on,
be
pause.
quitting
Another
life.
lie.
Pause. Didn't you just say that you have the best receiving core out there?
I did not say we have the best. I
Combs,
said we have the best
correct
wide
me.
receiver in the league. Yes.
And what about your number 2? You said he would be a number 1 on any other team,
I,
right?
I believe the word was
Yes.
great.
He is a great wide receiver 2 option.
Great wide receiver.
But
yeah.
Devonta Smith's speed would be awesome to add to the team. I would love to have Devonta Smith as a returner, to throw in there as a slot receiver, to,
So you are going to waste your 29th overall pick for a punt returner? Are you the Chicago Bears?
Hey,
I did not just say for a punt returner.
hey.
Yes, you
Devin
did. You said a
Hester.
returner.
Devin
That's
Hester.
true. Devin Hester. Great. He's the GOAT of returning.
He was not a receiver. He was a defensive back, though, that transitioned over to receiver because the Bears receiving core was so bad that they needed
Well,
anybody.
he was drafted because of his ability to run the ball back. He was drafted as a special teams guy, and he was drafted high as a special teams guy.
And no, I would not just draft Devonta Smith for his returning abilities.
just
That
said
is
would.
just something that comes with it. That would be something that's a little nice thing to have.
Yeah.
No, I would like to have Devonta Smith for his speed out on the outside where, he can run that streak and you can get it over the top to him. Essentially kind of like a Tyreek Hill. Of course, he's not Tyreek Hill, but something like that. You could stick him in the slot, have him run drags, slants. When in doubt, run the out, baby. Run that out route. Get it to him. So you put that speed on the outside. We all saw what he did against Ohio State in the national championship
What did
game.
he do?
Tore them 3 touchdowns in the first half. He tore them
ran
up.
past them. He just ran a fly past them.
Exactly.
He's not going to do that in the
He
NFL.
used his speed.
He's not going to do that in the
He
NFL.
will find ways to do that in the NFL. His game will translate, especially if he comes to Green Bay. I would take, if we have the 29th overall pick and Devonta Smith is there, I would love to have Devonta Smith on my team.
I hope you guys trade up to number 12, trade with the Eagles, you draft him, and I hope he stubs his toe on a couch and he is a complete bust because all he is going to be able to do is play the slot and run a 5-yard slant. He
That's
won't even
fine
be
with
good
me if it
enough
gets us to a Super Bowl.
But
I'm so tired of losing the game before.
Let me ask you guys this question. Tom Brady was picked at what overall?
199.
199.
Okay. I said Kyle Trask is going to fall to the late 3rd, early 4th.
Don't give that. Don't.
The
do
New
that
England
to yourself.
Patriots have the 199th overall pick again.
Don't
this
do
year.
Oh
that to
my
yourself.
God.
Don't
Stop
do that to
it.
yourself, Combs.
Don't
I'm just
do
saying.
this.
Would it be scary if they took Kyle Trask?
No, because the Patriots
No.
are going to move up in the draft. They have 6 picks in the first 4
The
rounds.
Patriots are getting a quarterback on night 1, whether if it is via a trade or whether if it is via a draft pick or a trade to a draft pick.
They've got a quarterback. They got Cam Newton.
No, they don't. Cam Newton is somebody that is an
They
awesome
don't
guy
have
to
Cam
fill
Newton?
in.
Yes, they do have Cam
They
Newton.
have Cam Newton, but he's not the future of this team.
They've got Jarrett Stidham too.
Oh, I
He
think
is
they
in the
should have
future,
given
but He
Stidham
is the president, and I think Cam Newton's still a good quarterback given the opportunity.
more picks
You
and
are out of
touchdowns
your
last
mind
year
and you
by
have not
far.
watched football in like 2 years if you think Cam Newton is still good.
You haven't watched
Why?
football since 2015.
Combs, me and you both sat here on the man hour through first 4 weeks of the NFL season, and we were blown away by Cam Newton. And then
We were
COVID hit
blown
him.
away by the way the Patriots were better than we thought that they were, but then Cam
And
Newton
Cam
became
Newton.
Cam Newton and did what Cam Newton's been doing over the last
The
4
Patriots.
years.
The Patriots had an incredible start when they almost beat
Yeah.
Seattle, and Cam Newton ran it and got just short of the goal line. Dude, the Patriots looked incredible. But here's the deal: the reason why they looked incredible was because here, you ready for this? What was the Patriots' scheme for 20 years? It was the dink and dunk game with a white quarterback who couldn't run to save his life, okay, but is the GOAT. And then you bring in possibly the most mobile quarterback of all time, at least top 5 in that category.
Whoa.
And you change the entire offense.
Whoa.
What?
What?
The most
There are
mobile
probably-
quarterback of all time?
Top
They're
5.
probably-
Hello, Michael
Top 5.
Vick.
Top 5. Top 5.
I bet you there's
No.
I
there's
said
5
top
white
5.
quarterbacks more mobile than Cam Newton. in the
Michael
NFL
Vick.
right
There
now.
is.
Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson.
Correct.
I'll give you
Randall Cunningham.
Randall Cunningham.
Randall Cunningham.
Yep.
Warren Moon.
Nope.
I'll give you
Cam Newton's 2015 year, they went 15-1. He was absolutely incredible that MVP year. Absolutely incredible. Tore the league up.
Teddy Bridgewater before he got hurt with the Minnesota
Oh,
Vikings.
stop
was more
it.
mobile.
Stop it. Stop
about-
it. Cam Newton
about
is a
Mr.
freaking
Powell
running back
himself?
with an arm.
How about Josh Allen?
No, not yet. Not yet.
What?
Josh, what's he done? Has he been to a Super Bowl yet? Has he went 15-1 yet? Has he won an MVP yet? None of those. Cam's done all of
I'm
those.
talking about being more
Has Lamar
mobile.
Jackson. I mean,
I would much rather try to tackle Cam Newton than tackle Josh Allen.
They would both run us over. They would steamroll all of us. They're both 2015 Cam Newton is definitely a better runner than Josh Allen right now.
I don't know about you, but Buck was a beast. Buck Nasty would take down Cam Newton, I think.
Yep,
Buck Nasty would, but hey, you got to think. Buck's had
I would
2
headshot
kids
him.
now. He's sporting that dad bod now. Okay, Buck's not what he once was. All right, Buck is
Nasty
still beautiful.
Would scare Cam Newton because he would tackle Cam Newton and then be like, "What are you doing in the shower later?"
So before we go to break, guys, you want to hear a great story about college ball?
I would love to.
So back in my day, hazing was still like a thing, right? So I transferred into K-State my sophomore year, and their hazing was to tie us up in the shower and shave our butts and call us gay. And I would look at them and like, and I'm like, well, you guys shaved my butt. Like, how am I gay? But so it was kind of a ha-ha moment.
And canceled.
That's cool.
That's it. It's
And
been
that-
great, boys.
And funny thing is, like, I can edit stuff out. So nonetheless, guys, we are going to take a quick little break. We are going to step back from the NFL draft a little bit here. We're going to step back into Major League Baseball, and Combs is going to give us some teams and players who is hot and who is not. So Major League Baseball, who's hot, who's not, coming up here on the Man Hour, guys. So stay tuned, sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs and the Wyatt Williams. If you guys have missed any part of the show whatsoever, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and of course, iHeartRadio, and now Amazon Music, because I know we got some Amazon people out there as well. But if you want to listen to the clips, you can check it out on youtube.com/Man Hour and check out the clips section as well. So click on the homepage, click on the playlist, and it has all the clips from all the shows on there, uploaded the next day up there on YouTube. So let's go ahead and welcome the boys back on the show, Brandon Combs and Wyatt Williams. You guys can all find us on Twitter, manhour_Combs, manhour_TWW, and of course you can find me at manhour_Buck. So guys, I actually got a new follower on Twitter last night. Old Stacy gave me an old follow on Twitter. I was really
That a
excited.
girl?
Yeah, I was like, Stacy's on Twitter. Woo, woo. No.
I heard her mom's got it going on.
Dude, I was about ready to say that. I swear to God, I was ready to say that.
Why? You don't need to
Gosh.
swear to me all the time. So just sometimes just say thanks. but Combs, Major League Baseball season is starting to heat up. There are some hot players. There are some hot teams, but there's also some cold players, some cold teams as well. Cincinnati Reds. So let's go ahead and start it off, Combs. Who is hot in Major League Baseball right now?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious answer here, out of the three names I'm going to rattle off here, are the Oakland A's. I mean, they started the season at 1-7, and they're now 14-9. So they've won 13 out of their last 15. They went on a 13-game win streak. So this team is absolutely phenomenal, and the Oakland A's are every bit what I said that they were ahead of the season, which is that team that you just keep waiting for them to stop winning games, and they just always seem to find a way to keep winning games.
Yeah, I mean, what the A's started off 1-7, and they rattled off like 13, 14 wins in a row. I mean, that is absolutely crazy to me, Combs. But looking at their schedule moving forward here, do you think they're going to cool off?
I don't know. Again, this is that team that you always wait for them to not be as good as they are, and they just always find a way to be. So as much as you would like to think that they would cool off, I thought when they started 1-7, I was like, oh, all right, finally we're going to see the A's have a down year. And now here we are looking at them in first place in the West, while everybody else, the Astros and the Angels, are having a tough time winning ball games.
Well, just on the flip side of that coin, they did start the season playing off against the Houston Astros and the Dodgers. So, it necessarily wasn't the easiest slate of games here. And then their schedule got somewhat easier with playing the Diamondbacks, Tigers, the Twins, and then the O's. But now they're playing a set with the Tampa Bay Rays starting tonight. It's actually a 4-game set, a Monday through Thursday set. So, do you see them splitting them, sweeping the Rays, or what do you see happening?
No, I don't see him sweeping the Rays. I see that, they maybe take 2 out of 3, or maybe they lose 2 out of 3. The Rays are a very good team. I mean, granted they're 11-11 right now, but they are a tough team to beat, especially in the Dome. So I think that it's one of those. I always hate when a team from the West Coast has to go to the East Coast and play as well, because it's just different. It's same thing with the East Coast team going to the West Coast. It's different times. It's a different. It just messes with your body. So I could see them going and getting swept. I could see them going and losing 2 out of 3. But you never count this team out. That's why this team is so hard to read.
Right, and I definitely think it's harder going from east to west, because that 10-10 first pitch for an East Coast team, when they're playing like a West Coast team, that is tough. So who else is hot
right now? And I was gonna go with Fernando Tatis here, but as I'm sitting here watching the game, Nico Hoerner, man, look, this kid got held down from coming up into the majors because of time of service issues, and then because of injury issues, the Cubs had to bring him up, and Nico Hoerner is just lighting it up, and he continues to stay hot tonight. He's 2 for 2 again tonight, and he is just hitting the ball. And I said once Nico Hoerner got in this Cubs lineup, they were going to be a different look, and this Cubs offense has looked a lot better since Nico Hoerner has gotten in there. It's his 5th game back. He's already got 4 doubles. So he's red hot right now. Nico Horner's there, and I'll put him there with Fernando Tatis too, who's got 5 home runs in his last 3 games. Just helped the Padres take 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers.
So let me ask you this question: do you think a player coming up from the minors, like they basically aren't in the major because the whole time is service thing, which later in the shop talk you have to explain what the time of service is for these newer baseball fans here, like on the show. Do you think that makes a player more hungry and more they will themselves to perform?
No, because look, Nico Horner was good last season in the short amount of time that he played up in the majors, and then he was ready. He was their best hitter all spring long, and so I just think the kid's the real deal. I think Nico Horner is a beast at second base. I think he's got a chance, and as much as I love my boy Ryan Sandberg, I think he's got a chance to, if he stays with the Cubs his entire career, to be the best second baseman the Cubs have ever had.
So, do you have a last who's hot, or did you?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make you happy here. It's the Kansas City Royals.
Hell yeah, brother!
7-3 in their last 10. They're
Hulkamania.
14-7 on the season. They just swept the Detroit Tigers, and they've won 5 straight. This team looks good, and they look a lot better than what I thought that they would this early in the season. Now, granted, I'm one of the few that picked them to have a better season than a lot of other people were picking them to have. I had them at 500. I had them finishing 3rd in this division, and they are red hot right now. And the White Sox are playing good baseball right now, but the Royals are keeping pace with them. The Royals have won 5 straight. The White Sox have won 4 straight. So the White Sox are winning baseball right now too, but they just can't gain any ground on the Royals.
Yeah, one of the biggest things, so we actually had Hoffy on last night, and he said the Royals are going to come back down to earth here eventually. But looking at their schedule moving forward, it's a damn easy schedule. They play the Pirates, they play the Twins, and then they play the Indians. I could see the Royals winning 14, 15 games in a row, but then what always hurts the Royals is those 14, 15 losses in a row too.
Now don't get it twisted with what the Oakland A's just did. The Oakland A's just won 13 straight, but that's the longest win streak I think in like 12 years since the last time. I think it was the Rockies who rattled off like something crazy like 22 straight at one season.
Well, and isn't the record like 24 because they were racing.
Yeah,
for the
they were
record
trying
that
to
year,
get. Yeah, exactly. So 13 games is a lot of games to win in a row. Can you? I would take it easy there and say, hey, maybe they can win 10 out of their next 15, something like that. I think is a little bit more feasible for them, which still could gain them ground in the division, because if you're doing that, you're beating division opponents. You're doing it against the teams that you need to beat, and 10 out of 15 is a nice stretch in that division, and that puts you really ahead of the game. I mean, right now they're 14-7. Right. If they go 10-5 over their next 15, they're sitting at 24-12.
Right.
So they're sitting pretty
well above 500.
Absolutely.
Here. And like one of the biggest reasons why the Royals are doing so well right now is their young pitching staff is coming of age really quick.
I agree with Hoffy, though. I do think they come back down to earth. There's always that 100%. Team that does good until like June, and then they find their way to fall back and they finish 3rd or 4th in the division. I think the Royals, I think maybe they're better than we thought they were. I think maybe that they end up, maybe they can compete for 2nd in this division, maybe even a wild card spot. I really do like what the Royals are doing over there. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, throughout the course of the season, as opposed to just the first, 4 weeks or so.
Let me ask you this question, because you said the Royals are basically going to be that team that basically runs out of gas throughout the dog days of summer. Is there another team that comes to mind that could do possibly the same, i.e. Milwaukee Brewers?
Well, see, the thing about the Brewers is that they play in a really bad division. The Brewers haven't been great. What are they, 11-10?
They're still second place in the division.
Yeah, but they just haven't been
6-3 versus the Cubs.
Yeah, exactly. and the Cubs have been horrible in this first month of the season, and yet they still find themselves only 2 games out of the division.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think that I don't know that the Brewers are going to come back down to earth because I think that so they're 13-8. I don't think that the Brewers are going to come back down to earth just because of the division that they play in. I think they're going to do a good job of taking advantage of some really porous talent. Once the Reds come back and win, look, the Reds in the matter of a week went from first to worst.
Yeah.
So
speaking of that, who is cold?
Yeah. So who's cold? I got the Reds 2-8 in their last 10. First to worst in 1 week, 2-7 on the road this season. They are not good away from Cincinnati, and they've had, they had a good start to the season, but we knew, and I said it too, and I'm sorry, Stacey, because I know you're a Reds fan, and even though they're in the same division as the Cubs, I always, I hope my friends whose teams they have, I hope that they could do well, unless you're a Cardinals fan, because I don't like the Cardinals fans, but I will always, hope that your team does well, because the Reds fans deserve to have a winning season. Reds fans deserve to have, Reds fans deserve to have a good team, and they just don't.
Do they though? Do they? They tried to buy a world championship just a couple years ago. They got
rid of
league and like everybody else. They tried to buy that championship.
Stacey,
they can't be too great
about them. I'm telling you deserve a good team. They're just not good.
No, they don't deserve anything. You know why they don't deserve anything? Because they got rid of the greatest pitcher of all time, Trevor freaking Bauer. That's why. That's why they don't. They will never. That's why they suck. That's why they suck. Every time we do a baseball segment, you should go on break for 15 minutes. No, I'm serious. That's why the Reds suck. I'm serious. So the Reds suck. They got rid of the greatest pitcher of all time.
You don't talk when we're talking baseball unless you want to say something about Trevor Bauer, because it rubs me the wrong way.
Undefeated as a Dodger so far, has not lost a single game.
He's undefeated on the best team in baseball. Try being Jacob deGrom.
They're the second best team per Hoffy.
That's true as well. And he would be undefeated if he was on the Mets as well.
He had them at 2 in the power rankings?
He did.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, he had the A's at 1. No, A's were 1.
He had the A's at 1?
Yeah.
I believe he had the Padres sitting at number 5, if I'm not mistaken. But
man, am I sad that I missed last night, man.
So speaking of the Reds, Combs, you just said it is hard from a team to go coast to coast, switch 3 time zones, and that's exactly what the Reds do. They go to L.A., play the Dodgers, and they have a Monday night game that starts at 10:10 East Coast time. So they're going to be playing until 2-3 o'clock in the morning here on the East, on the East Coast. And then they played a day game the next day. So
it's going to be tough for them. They've got a tough schedule. It's going to be they're just not very deep right now. Yep. The pitching staff is not very good. The other team that's not hot is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. As sad as it is to say, this is my World Series winner. They are 3-7 in their last 10 after starting the season at 7-3. So they're sitting at 10-10, and they just have not been good as of late. They just dropped 2 out of 3 to the Houston Astros, which leads me to my last team that's not hot is the Houston Astros. Even though they took out 2 out of 3 from the Angels this weekend, they're 4-6 in their last 10. And before this weekend series with the Angels, they took 2 out of 3. They had lost 9 out of 10. So they are not hot right now. They're playing a little bit better over the weekend, but they're also playing against a team that is struggling right now. So those are my 3 teams that are not hot.
So you had 2 teams from the AL West in your not hot list. Has the AL West kind of taken a back seat and not going to be the best division in baseball like you once thought?
No, I always thought it was going to be the NL East. I think that the AL West is still going to be very good. It's going to be very competitive. It's going to be interesting to watch because in order for some of these teams like the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Angels to come back and win this division, they're going to have to climb back into it and beat Oakland. And Oakland's just not one of those teams that's willing to lose to these teams as of the last few years. So it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to watch. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to, you know me. I watch baseball all the time. So
right. So I would be interested to ask Tim, do you think teams get more amped up for division opponents than other opponents?
Well, see, and that's where. So I know Tim Dillard, when we had him on, he said, there were days where he go to the ballpark and didn't even know who he was playing. But
Right.
I mean, that could only happen maybe 82 times a year, because the rest of the times you're traveling and you know what city you're in, I would hope. So you got to know who you're playing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you get more amped up for rivalry games, so to speak. I think you get ramped up for games that mean something. So
divisional games, right?
Divisional games early in the season and later in the season, it's just, where do you sit in the standings? How do you, what do you need to do to get to here or get to there or do whatever it takes? I just think, and then you've always got your rivalries. So you look at teams like the Braves, and when they take on teams like the Dodgers, they can't stand the Dodgers. And that always seems to be a good rivalry. It's the same thing with the Cubs and the Braves as well. They've got a good rivalry as well because they're both young, scrappy teams that are both flamboyant and
they're both bad.
Love to show their flair.
They're battling for the worst team in Major League Baseball. So,
yeah.
With that being said, guys, we are going to take a quick little break. Let's go ahead and step back from the Major League Baseball and go into the association. After the break, we are going to talk NBA. Who's hot and who's not? Why it's time to shine here? So, guys, sit back and relax, as the end of the NBA playoffs are just 2 weeks away, aren't they?
Who's not? LeBron James.
He's not playing. We'll be back, guys, on the Man Hour. Welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeye along with Wyatt Williams and Brandon BC Combs. To miss any part of the show whatsoever, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and of course iHeartRadio as well. And of course, you can find all the clips, all the segments, all the good talk over at youtube.com/Man Hour, as we do upload the clips each and every day. And if you haven't so already, become a member over there on the YouTube page. See, all you do is simply click the join page. And as little as $2.99 a month, you get access to the after show. You get behind the scenes footage. You get all access to the Man Hour, like all the Man Hour crew as well. And then there are different perks as well. For $5.99, you get a t-shirt after 6 months of being a member, a members only t-shirt, I might add. And then if you do join the $9.99 one, which is the best deal of all, you get access to the pre-show, the behind the scenes footage, after show, and you get a hoodie every year you are a Man Hour member. So head over to youtube.com/Man Hour. Join the membership today. So let's go ahead and welcome the boys back onto screen here at Man Hour_Combs, at Man Hour_TWW, and of course you can find me at Man Hour_Buck. Wyatt, we have talked Major League Baseball, we have talked draft, so let's go ahead and complete the
real
trifecta.
Quick before we get to basketball, I was just looking up the numbers. The entire NL East, which I said is going to be the best division, with the exception of the Miami Marlins, has been outscored. Their run differential is in the negative, with the exception of the Marlins, who is a +1. And if the Marlins lose to the Brewers tonight, that will make more teams in Major League Baseball have been outscored than teams that have outscored their opponent. That's a crazy statistic if you think about it.
That's pretty bad. You want to know what else is crazy? Lakers are winning the championship. Why? Who's hot in the NBA?
I hope
yeah.
LeBron breaks his leg.
Who is hot? We got 3 teams. Who's not? We got 3 teams. Starting that off is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers. 9-1 out of their last 10. Only 1 loss. And current 3rd seed in the West, which is an incredibly hard thing to do. And as of right now, while LeBron James is not playing, they're the best team in LA in their own facility. But once he comes back, don't worry. You know, the Lakers will be the best team again. But really, ever since Kawhi's came back, this team has been clicking on all cylinders. You know, we saw him come back about a week ago and make a huge impact right off the bat. They had that big win whenever he was out there. He led the team in every single statistic except for scoring. Which is outrageous. So Kawhi is just a different animal. He is an incredible basketball player, and he has turned this team around. So the Clippers getting back on track at the perfect time. They've jumped themselves up to the 3 seed with their most recent success, of course. They are sitting at 43-19 and just 2 games behind first place in the West. So if they continue this up, and speaking of the 2 teams ahead of them, the Jazz and the Suns are on a 6-4 streak over their last 10. So they have been playing better basketball than those 2. So that is a big thing there for them. The Clippers are my first who's hot team.
So you are telling me that if you get a top 5 player back on your team, you are a hot team. Imagine that, Wyatt. I mean, come on, man. But the Clippers are clicking. They only have 3 losses since middle of March. So they played what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 games and 3 losses. So
they're 17-3 in their last 20. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
And
it really is.
Paul George has pretty much led scoring the whole way. So
yeah, with Kawhi out, he's really picked it up. But with that being said, our second who's hot team is going to be the Washington Wizards at 9-1 out of their last 10 as well. And they're the 10th seed in the East at the moment. They've worked themselves back into playoff contention, sitting with a 27-33 record, 13.5 games behind first place. They're not going to get to first place, of course, but at this rate, if they continue what they're doing, they could get themselves back into this. Russell Westbrook has returned to MVP form. Russell Westbrook is playing legitimately out of his mind right now. He is averaging like a triple-double, I believe, or right under a triple-double. Like I said, just right back to the MVP form that we saw Russ a couple of years ago, too, as well as Brad Beal is playing very well. Just really that whole team right now is clicking on all cylinders.
Welcome to the NBA, where even if you're a losing team, we'll let you into the playoffs.
That's true, actually. It's not bad.
Did the NFL let a losing team into the playoffs last year?
Oh, they did. Oh, that's a good point.
Come on, Combs. Come on, man.
Plus, I'm sure there's losing teams that make it in baseball, right?
All the time.
No.
All the time.
Not all the time. Last year, it happened because of the shortened 60-game season, and I believe that the Astros got it in 1 game under 500, but it's never happened in a 162-game season.
Wow, I didn't even know that. But
who else is hot, Wyatt?
Who else is hot? Our final who's hot team. Who else other than the New York Knicks? Also 9-1. Everybody on the who's hot list today is 9-1 out of their last 10. Only 1 loss. The current 4th seed in the East. They are 7 games behind first place. The Nets, of course, own that first place trophy right now. But man, I mean, this has just been the Knicks' season. They have really just come full circle. Julius Randle is playing incredibly right now. Just, we've never seen this from him before until, this year he really just kind of snapped, and now he's playing incredibly. RJ is playing very well. Really, that whole team is just clicking on all cylinders, and I love the confidence that they play with. The reporter asked Julius Randle, I believe it was, a couple of weeks ago whenever they were squaring off against the Nets. He said, how are you going to prepare for the Nets' big three? And he said, we're not, because we've got a big five. So, they've got confidence in themselves. They've got confidence in their team. And, man, they're playing like it as well. So they are currently 9-1 out of their last 10, 34-27 on the year in the 4th seed in the East. And they are 3 games behind the Bucks, who sit at the 3 seed. As well as 5 games behind the 2nd place 76ers and 7 games behind the 1st place Nets. So that is our Who's Hot teams.
So not only are the Knicks 9-1, they have won 9 straight. So let's just go ahead and throw that out there. They have won 9 straight.
Yes.
But some of the biggest news that has been surrounding the Knicks organization is the fact that Zion said he would love to play at Madison Square Garden all the time. So, could they even have a Big Six coming to New York here eventually? That is a big question here. But you mentioned that the Knicks are just 5.5 games out of 2nd place. I think they might want to pump the brakes a little bit and stay in that 3rd seed, just because I think the 1 and 2 seeds are going to get upset this year. So they don't want to be that 1 or 2 seed just because there are going to be teams jumping into the playoffs that already have a couple games under their belt, and they got the flow of the playoffs and the must-win situations. You want to be either 3 that you're playing a team wet behind the ears in the playoffs still too, right?
Yeah.
Great commentary.
Answering your question.
What do you expect from him?
Who is Cold White in the NBA?
Oh, God. Here we go. So first off, I hate to do this to you, old BC man, but I got to do it. That's going to be the Bulls, okay? They are 25-35, 3-7 in their last 10, and they
still have a shot to make the playoffs.
They are the 11th seed, and they are the 11th seed. And they are just 2 games behind the 10th seeded Wizards. So they've still got time to get this in check, but they've got to get this cold streak over with if they're going to make it into that
playoffs. Don't make the play. Why would you want to see this horrible team make the playoffs? They are 25-35. They're 10 games under 500. Why would you want to see this horrible team? They're going to go to the playoffs and do what? Are they going to compete? Are they going to go ahead and take out the number 1 seed in the first round? No.
It doesn't matter who that 8 seed is. The Nets are going to stomp them and sweep them.
Yeah, there's no overrated. So don't don't go to the playoffs.
Buck, they're the 1 seed right now in the East, and their big 3 has only played together like 6 times this year.
Exactly.
They're still the 1 seed.
They're overrated? Because their big 3 has only played 6 games together, and you have to have camaraderie. You have to have chemistry on the court to win a series. Yes, you can win a few games here or there with the quote big 3, but to win a series, come on, man, you have to know how each other plays. You have to know who is going to take the big shot. But let's go ahead and transition back to the Bulls here. Looking at their schedule moving forward, their schedule does not get any easier. Either they play the Heat at Heat, and they play your hot team, the New York Knicks. They play a very good Bucks team that throttled the 76ers just a couple days ago, and they have a very underrated Atlanta Hawks team too. So it doesn't get much easier for the Bulls at all. So who else is cold?
Yeah, next on our who is not is the Trailblazers. 2-8 out of their last 10. The current 7th seed in the West, and once again another team just like the Bulls, who they're sitting at 32-28. They're a 7th seed. They're right on the edge of, they're still in that play-in tournament. They're still in that bubble situation, and still have plenty of time left. They're only 1 game behind Dallas. They're only 3 games behind the Lakers, sitting at that 5th seed. So, they're 12 seed. They're 12 games behind first place. Of course, they're not going to make first place, but they've still got plenty of time to scooch their way up and guarantee themselves a playoff spot. And with Damian Lillard, what we saw, Dame time, baby. We saw what he did last year in the playoffs, just channeled everything. I don't think I've ever seen a more clutch set of games than what Damian Lillard's done in his playoff set last year, which was insane. I think he averaged like almost 40 points a game for that set, which was awesome and very fun to watch. But, they've got a shot to get back to that moment, and, they're currently, like I said, they're currently 2-8 and in the 7th seed, and if they continue this up, there's a lot of hungry teams like the Grizzlies, the Spurs, the Warriors, the Pelicans sitting behind them, who are all good, capable teams. who would love to take their spot. So if they don't get this in check and get it together soon, it's going to be bad news Bears.
On the flip side of the coin, though, they might be 2-8 in their last 10, but they have all been really close competitive games. You know, they have a point game here, they have a 3-point game here. So they remind me a lot of a NFL team and the Cleveland Browns that like they're there, but they just can't quite get over that hump. And I think they needed to take these lumps basically the month of April to basically have playoff Dame back and, you know, kind of get that momentum going for them. So I look for the Blazers to really turn it around come like May 2nd, May 3rd time.
Absolutely. And for our for our final Who's Not team, that is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers, a team that I didn't think I was going to ever mention on the Who's Not section after they've had the great season they have. 39-21, that sounds great on paper, but in their last 10 games, they've only won 5, and they have currently played bad enough where they've dropped themselves out of that first seed in the East. They have completely fell down, and the Nets have taken over the East now, and that's a primitive position for them. They've got to gain back because you're not going to beat Brooklyn at Brooklyn 4 times. I mean, it's just not going to happen. You've got to, if you're in a 7-game series, you'll have to win 3 at your house and at least 1 at theirs. And I'm sorry, I don't see that's going to be so difficult to go into Brooklyn and win like that. You know, I think it would be more highly likely that Brooklyn wins 4 games against them at home rather than them just sneak away with 1. That's a really tough place to play with those 3 playing there in KD and Kyrie and James Harden. So the 76ers, you know, once again in that spot where you still got plenty of time to turn it around, but MVP candidate Joel Embiid, you've got to show us that you're the MVP candidate that you are and get this back in check and get your team online. If he can manage to get himself out of this hole and get them to the 1 seed again, I think Joel Embiid has a really good shot of winning MVP. I still think that the Joker comes away with it, or Steph. I think those 2 are more deserving of it, but if Embiid really wants to push the envelope and get himself to that point, he's got to get that 1 seed in the East.
Well, just to add to your point there, I mean, the 76ers have a pretty easy next 5 games here. I mean, they do play the Hawks twice, but then they play the Spurs, Bulls, and then the Rockets to round out the month of like April here. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when a 1 and 2 team, 1 seed and a 2 seed play in the playoffs, it would have to be for the championship game, right?
Yes.
And the conference championship game.
Yes.
Okay. And the Nets won't be getting out of the second round. So the 76ers don't have to worry about the Nets at all. So
Who do you think is going to beat them? Which team? I will name you the 4 through the 8. I'll name you the 4 through the 10 seed right now.
I just told you.
The Heat? 7 seed Heat. No, there's no way.
Why?
I think the Heat could beat the Sixers, but I don't think they have enough firepower to keep up with the Nets. I really don't.
What makes the Nets so good that the Heat cannot beat them?
On any given night, they can put up 140 to 150 points.
How?
Any given
Kevin
night.
Durant is
Celtics
out.
can beat the Nets.
Kyrie Irving's out, and so is
They
James Harden.
will all be back.
The Boston Celtics could beat the Nets.
Yeah.
I think what Combs just said is, in my opinion, is possibly of everyone from the 4 seed to the 10 seed. I think that the Celtics have the best shot at beating the Nets. I don't think
Which
they
the
will.
Celtics are sitting at 4 seed, right?
No, the Celtics are the 6th seed right now. They're 32
Okay.
and 29. They're on a 7 and they're on a they're 7 and 3 in their last 10.
So they would play in the second round.
They would.
Yeah.
Yes, they would.
So therefore, the Nets will lose in the second round, like I just told you.
Not to the. I said that is the team that could do it. I do agree with Combs here. I think the Celtics are the team that would do it if there is a team that's going to do it. But there's not. It will be Lakers and Nets.
What
I
about the
promise.
Knicks? You don't think the Knicks are good enough to beat the Nets?
No. I think the Knicks need a little more growing before they're gonna be a contender. I think they're one piece away, and honestly, I think that piece
Nets
might be
have-
Zion.
The Nets have a big 3, but they are 3 guys who have a tendency to disappear.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
That's why I think I agree with Buck. I think they're completely beatable. I I think that there's more than just one team that can beat this team because of that factor that I just mentioned. They've got 3 guys, KD and Kyrie, and I mean Kyrie's showing it. He doesn't even, to be honest with you, I question Kyrie's, his focus on the game itself. I
Shit,
question
the whole
takes a
Ramadan
personal day
situation.
Every 3 games,
Yeah.
he's taking a personal day.
Well, did you
Right,
guys see what
if
happened? The
KD,
reason why
if
he
he's
left?
If KD's not hurt, he's sitting in the back room waiting for his mom to come powder his butt or something.
Yeah.
Because he's getting it tore up on Twitter. So I just I don't like what the Nets have. I think the Nets are very beatable, and I agree with Buck. I think they're probably the most overrated team in the East.
So why did Kyrie miss all those games?
Yeah, he recently converted to Islam, I believe, and was it Ramadan or something.
Jesus.
That's what it was. He literally came out with it like 2 days ago that he literally just converted to Islam.
How
and
about
became
you convert to the fact that you're getting paid millions of dollars in a contract to play the game of basketball?
Yeah. So they should take out at least 70% of his pay, right? Since he's missed 70% of the games.
But that's Kyrie's game, man. Kyrie always sits out most of the regular season. He did it while he was in Cleveland. He did it a ton while he was in Boston. When Kyrie was in Boston,
You know why?
I feel like it was 2 out of 3 nights he wasn't there.
He had LeBron to learn from.
Sheesh. LeBron,
Jesus.
this is the most games LeBron James has missed in all of his
In his entire career.
career. And wasn't Kyrie the same person that said the earth is flat?
Yes, he was.
Okay, I'm just making
He
sure.
learned
So
that
he
from
is
LeBron.
not right in the head. Kyrie Irving and
Kyrie's-
Vince Young are going to be roommates here eventually.
Kyrie Irving is a very interesting character. He definitely is.
All right, guys. We're going to take a quick little break. On the other side of the break, we're going to jump back into the NFL draft. So if you guys got some questions for the draft master himself, Wyatt Williams, because he has now taken over Todd McShay. So Wyatt is better than Todd McShay, and also 12 is greater than 9.
You heard it here.
So just keep that in mind. So we'll be right back here, guys, on the Man Hour. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckle along with Brandon Combs and Wyatt Williams. If you missed any part of the show right now, head over to manhourradio.com. You can check out the podcast form there as we upload all the show and all the clips over there on the podcast form. I am a little bit behind of uploading those clips just because we decided to do that just this weekend, but they are coming up. I promise you guys. So I'm uploading like 15 clips a day over there. So let's go ahead and welcome the boys back onto the screen here, as Wyatt can never hold it together and always messes me up. So what's so funny over there, guys?
Combs.
I was messing
I'm like
with
in the
Wyatt.
comments trying to show stuff like the man Man Hour is live every Sunday through Thursday. Good info stuff, and Combs keeps like coming through with this every single time I put something up there. It's like I'll put up there somebody's comment, then he'll follow it with that. I'll put up somebody's comment, he'll put it with that.
Absolutely.
It was awesome. It was funny. It made me laughing.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess you up, Buck. Oh,
So with that being said,
it's goofy.
guys, that is 3 drinks. We now have a new drinking game here on the Man Hour. So every time Wyatt Williams says, now with that being said, and absolutely, you
Oh
guys
my
have
God.
to drink. So
That was
Wyatt,
Stacy and,
I feel like-
Nana's game, and
I
they
feel
are
like
drunk.
I can't say anything now. Like if I talk about the Packers, if I say, okay, with that being said, like I feel like whatever I say now is just somebody's gonna end up drinking.
How about this? Let's change that up a little because we would have to drink a lot if we did that. How about
Yeah.
if you say, with that being said, 3 times in the same paragraph?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think.
Okay.
Do I say it that much? Like, is it really
Yeah.
that bad?
it
Oh, you
is,
say it a lot.
Oh man.
It's almost as bad as me with because I
and
say
it's
a
me
lot.
with like. Yep.
It's almost as bad as Buck stutter. You know it's there.
All right. Every time I say it now, you guys say 1, okay, and then count them. Let's see how many I do. Okay.
No, because
Okay.
then you'll subconsciously start to like I will keep a secret tally over here on the behind the scenes footage, so we have like a running
Okay.
total.
So with
So-
that being said, just go forth with what you're trying to say. No, I'm just kidding.
Gotcha. All right.
I'm absolutely
let's
ready
go
to hear
ahead
what
and
you're
jump
saying,
back
Buck.
Let's go ahead and jump back into the NFL draft. And if you look at any mock draft across the board, Trevor Lawrence has been at the top of the list since his freshman year of
Since he was born.
of
Pretty much.
college. Let's just be flat out honest. And with that being said, Chris Sims comes out and basically puts Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence. And with that being said, I am all about clickbait, absolutely. But is Chris Sims just simply clickbaiting us to like look at his article, or do you really think Zach Wilson is better than Trevor Lawrence? Combs, I'm going to kick it to you first.
I've always said that Zach Wilson is better than Trevor Lawrence since we started talking about the draft. But with that being said, I just think that Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys that's not very. He's just going to be a bust, and so I mean, I guess I would have to say, with that being said, that Phil Simms is definitely trying to clickbait us.
So you
Absolutely.
kind of just like. So you kind of just contradicted yourself there, because you said that Zach Wilson is going to be better than Trevor, but then you don't. So you think that
he's
Chris Sims is just saying it
clickbaiting
just
because Chris Sims is now jumping on mine and yours bandwagon. You can't be a bandwagon jumper, Chris Sims. You can't get on this train. This is me and Buck's train, and you are not welcome, Chris Sims. I've told you this in the comments. You're a clown. You are not welcome here. This was our take a long time ago. Get off that train. You and Wyatt Williams can go ahead and ride the Trevor Lawrence is going to be phenomenal, and he's got a 3% chance at being a bust.
I never
Train.
said that. I said 25%.
But on the flip side of that coin, just to add to some validity of what Combs has said, we've been saying that since October, Combs, basically since the Man Hour started that Trevor Lawrence was going to be a bust in the.
I've been saying it
in the NFL.
since his junior year, his second year, his sophomore year. I said, This kid is going to get drafted. He's going to get drafted high, but he's not going to do well in the NFL. Not only because of where he's going to get drafted to, but you have yet to see him play a great defense in the regular season.
So,
Period.
and then on the flip side of that coin, Justin Fields was actually ranked higher coming out of high school than Trevor Lawrence. So Justin Fields was the number 1 overall quarterback. Trevor Lawrence was the number 2. So
Here's a question for you, Wyatt. If Trevor Lawrence was on Ohio State this past year, does he start over Justin Fields? Because I don't think
They don't want a national title. Yeah.
That's not what I asked you.
No, I'm saying yes, and they would have won a national title. Yeah.
So with that being said, is Chris Sims just kind of trolling?
So Chris Sims does this all the time. Chris Sims loves the hot take, and every he'll say a million and he'll get one right. Like for example, the draft class with Lamar and all of them. He said that Lamar was the best quarterback in that draft. He said it just for clickbait. He said it just for attention. He happened to just be right, and now he prances around.
What?
What?
Lamar Jackson is not the best quarterback in that draft class.
He has an MVP. None of the other quarterbacks have an MVP. To have an MVP, you have to be the best player in the
Who
league
are the
that
other
year.
quarterbacks in that draft class?
Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen. If you want to put Josh Rosen at one, we can.
Josh Allen is probably the most complete quarterback of that draft,
Yeah. Definitely the best.
but Lamar Jackson probably
Has had the most success.
He's had the most success since that draft so far. Yeah.
You know what? I strongly disagree with both of you because I think Baker
Why?
Mayfield has had the most success.
How?
He took
Has
a
Baker
shit
Mayfield
team.
won an MVP?
What?
No,
What?
he hasn't. But
What?
he
Okay.
took the Cleveland Browns,
What?
the 0-16 Cleveland Browns quarterback death graveyard, and led them to the playoffs and about beat the Kansas City
they
Chiefs.
also built around him with far
Okay.
superior talent. He's. You
He
can't
has
deny.
a- he has
I know
a
you don't
incredible
like
team
Lamar
around
Jackson,
him.
You don't like ever admitting that he does anything good, but the guy won an NFL MVP.
You have to be the
runs
best
really
That
player
means
in
he
the league
was
for
the
that.
best
Running back.
player in the league that year. None of the other guys have that on their resume.
He got it by default just because Patrick Mahomes got hurt and they didn't want to give a
Oh
quarterback
my
back-to-back
God.
MVPs. That's the only reason. No, just because. Think about this, guys. Here in the NFL, it is so since Patrick Mahomes threw 5,200 yards, and then he throws for 4,900
regardless,
yards
Buck.
the next year and missed 3 games. We're like, oh, he had an off year. He missed 3
regardless,
games and
Buck.
still threw 4,900 yards.
Buck.
How is that not?
Does he have an NFL, whether it was gifted to him, whether or not somebody got hurt? Did he win the NFL MVP? The other guys didn't get it gifted to him. Why didn't they gift it to? Why didn't
He
they gift
should've.
it to Baker Mayfield? Why didn't they gift it to Josh Allen? Because they weren't as good as Lamar Jackson. So even if you want to say that he didn't win it that year,
Favoritism.
say he
That's
was
all it is, it's
say he
favoritism.
was the runner-up in the NFL MVP, he was still better than the other 2 quarterbacks. He was better than the other 2 quarterbacks last season. I don't know. I get your hatred for Lamar Jackson. I don't like the guy very much either. But so far to this point, I think Josh Allen will have the better career. I think Baker Mayfield will have a better career. But to this point, he's been the most successful quarterback out of that draft class.
So
For sure.
What do you measure success by? Wins and losses,
Here
or
we
actually
go.
stats on the
Here
field?
Yes.
we go.
No.
We're gonna
Absolutely.
talk about
Absolutely.
playoff
Yes.
losses.
Yes. No. Wins and losses. He is the most winning quarterback of that class by far. He had a
What did
13-3
Josh
season
Allen
and
do
then a
last year? What was the Bills' record last year? Like 12-4.
12-4. Yeah, that's not Lamar's was 13-3 the year before.
Okay, but what were
This
they
year they
this
were-
year?
11-5, 1 game behind the Bills. The Bills the
So-
season before were 9-7.
So Lamar Jackson has one more win than Josh Allen in the last
No.
2 years, right?
No, last year Lamar
got
Jackson
5
has
more
one
wins.
less. He's got like 5 more wins.
Yeah.
Because Lamar went 13-3, Josh Allen went 9-7.
So basically, you are telling me that a measurement of success is a team reward, right? Not an individual
Buck,
reward.
this
Well,
no,
your
no,
quarterback
answer the
is your
question.
general. They got to lead you.
you want an individual award?
Lamar
We already
Ja-
gave
Lamar
you an
Jackson-
individual award. He won the MVP. There's
Lamar
nothing more
Jackson was the
individual
best player
than the
on that
most
team.
valuable player.
So you are telling me right now that since the who was
How did we get from talking about the draft to talking about whether or not Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in his draft class? We got
Just
derailed
let him
real
keep
quick
going. I
just
love it.
because you want to
This
talk
is-
about your hatred for Lamar.
No, see, I don't hate Lamar as a person. You fans put him up on this freaking pedestal and the
No,
Draft
I didn't
night,
put him up
he's-
on a pedestal.
Go Cards,
I'm just
baby.
spitting
Yes, you
facts.
are. Draft night, Lamar
No.
Jackson said, "I'm
Go
winning
Cards,
a Super
baby.
Bowl." Like the fans,
Yes,
are,
sir.
Oh, hail Lamar Jackson!
L1
He's a greatest
C4.
ever.
The facts are, Buck. He's won more games than anybody else in that quarterback draft class.
He's won more
an MVP,
awards.
which nobody else has done in that draft class.
Okay,
he's
so
rushed
if you
for more
wanna go
yards
that-
than anybody else in that NFL draft class. He's been more. You can't deny the fact that in his first 3 seasons, he has been more successful than the other quarterbacks.
Josh
in that
Allen
draft
has only had
class.
one good year.
Undeniable. That is undeniable, and that's false. Josh Allen had a good year last year when they were 9-7, but they weren't that good.
No, I was one of the first people to say that Josh Allen was great and he was going to have a pop-off year this
Yes.
year. But I can say the season before, he had some inaccuracy issues. He threw a lot of interceptions the year
for
before the last. So,
But Lamar Jackson does that too, though.
oh, well, yeah, but that's not Lamar Jackson's not a strong-arm quarterback who's supposed to throw the ball downfield.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I think that I think Baker and Josh Allen are going to have the better careers. But to this point, Buck, it's just not. If you deny it, it's just because you don't want to admit it. It's
No,
not the fact that it's
you
not
guys
true.
are
It's
measuring-
you just don't want to admit it.
You guys are measuring success by team success, not individual success. If you want to
He
do
won
individual
an MVP. That's
An
individual
MVP,
success.
that's
was
most
by default.
Buck is an individual person a player, right?
Yes.
Okay,
MVP
Buck,
stands for
let's
most
say-
valuable
all right, Let's
player.
go by your theory, though, Buck. Let's go by your theory. So he won it by default because your boy Patty Mahomes got hurt, okay? So even so, he was still second on that list. You know who wasn't even on that list? Baker
Josh
Mayfield
Allen,
and Josh
Baker
Allen.
Mayfield.
Well,
They
Baker
weren't even
Mayfield
on
was
the
going.
list.
Baker Mayfield was going like 8-7-1 or 7-8-1 that year.
But Baker Mayfield literally turned the Browns from the best team to Super Bowl
I
contenders.
agree with you.
I agree
and
with
that's
you.
Why I,
So-
Josh
and
Allen,
that's
hold on,
why I
hold on,
said
Josh Allen.
and Baker Mayfield are going to have better careers.
Josh
But to
Allen
this
turned
point,
the
they're
Bills
not-
around.
They haven't been better.
At this moment, no, they have not.
So, are you guys ready for some real facts here? Let's just talk the last 2 seasons. Just because Lamar Jackson did not play all of 2018, well, he came at the last 8-9 games, right? So,
And
stats.
tore it up.
Let's just talk strictly stats, just because team success does not equivalent to individual success here. Passing yards, Lamar Jackson, 2019 had 3,127 yards passing with the 58 completion percentage here. Josh Allen, 3,200 yards with a 60% completion rating. Who had the better
So the same.
season then? They're right about even, right?
Right about even.
Let's look at last year. Who threw for 4,500 yards and who threw for 2,700 yards?
Josh Allen threw for 4,500 yards, but Josh Allen also has.
He's a strong arm pocket passing quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And not only that,
And
but
he's got better
Stephon
receivers.
Diggs.
Yes.
He's got he's got a much better wide receiver core than they have in Baltimore, and not to mention they had a better offensive line, a better run game, and a much better defense.
So how about this? Who had 1,000 yards rushing and who had 521 yards?
Lamar
Josh
had
Allen had
1,000.
more rushing yards, and actually, in fun fact, in their careers, Josh Allen has 5 more rushing touchdowns than Lamar Jackson. That's something nobody knows.
So, based on what you guys just said, Josh Allen is a better quarterback stat wise.
He will
And
be.
he would have
Yes,
the better
he's going to
no,
have
no,
a
no,
better
no, no, no,
career.
no,
To this point,
This last year, Josh Allen was a better quarterback statistically. The year before, he was not, and the year before
he
that,
was.
I would go as
Yes,
far
he
as say he
was.
was not. He had
I'm just writing
MVP.
the stats. They're right
MVP.
about neck and neck.
MVP. 2 years ago, MVP. Josh Allen was not in the MVP race.
Okay. So, because you're in the MVP race, a biased voting thing makes you better automatically?
biased voting.
He
Yes.
tore the league up. Legitimately
isn't MVP
tore
in the
it up.
NFL? Isn't NFL MVP voted on by the players? I thought MVP in the NFL was voted on by the players.
No, that's the top 100 players.
I don't know honestly, how the MVP is voted, to be honest with you.
It's the board of whatever for the NFL. I'm
but
not
I
sure.
can tell you it is biased.
It is not. Well, first off, hold on. Even if it was biased, Josh Allen wasn't even in the race for it to be biased. They don't
Okay.
pick a 9-7 quarterback
Lamar
to be
Jackson
an
shouldn't have
MVP
been in the
candidate.
race either.
He was 13-3. They had the best record in the
He
league.
threw for 2,500 yards.
How many did he run for? He broke Michael Vick's rushing yard record.
Okay, is he a quarterback or is he a running back?
He is a quarterback. He's a quarterback with a heck of a leg set.
Asking for a friend. We've got the draft coming up in 3 days. Is Lamar Jackson in it?
He should be.
Okay, because we just spent the last 10 minutes talking about Lamar Jackson and debating on whether or not he's better than Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. Jeez, I'm crow.
And now we got to move to shop talk.
No, I got one more question since you guys want to.
Oh God.
Okay, here we go.
And welcome back to the Man Era, guys. Mako Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs and Wyatt Williams. So I cut Wyatt off last night because last night I was in the middle of a sentence, Combs, and like I was like, oh, hold up, it's break time. Boom. Like he asked me a question that warranted like a 5-minute answer. He's like, you get 3 words and I'm going to like break. Asshole. 100%.
Hey, we got to fill those ad
move.
slots, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pull moves like that, if you're gonna mute people or cut people off, you've actually got to show up on time to pre-show.
No. If y'all want to talk about
actually, you got to show up on time to anything.
If you all want to talk about muting people, okay. Yeah. Exactly.
Great minds think alike, Combs. We both at the same time.
Yeah, so you unmuted me.
So with that being said, guys, it is time for shop talk. This is a time where we get to interact with you guys a lot in the chat. So if you want to talk about anything in the chat, let us know. And there were some questions that were proposed about a half hour ago, 9:17 to be exact. And Stacy wants to know, for Shop Talk, what is a true definition of the GOAT? The GOAT meaning the greatest of all time. Definitely not LeBron. So, Wyatt, what is your definition of?
My definition of GOAT is LeBron, and I think the GOAT.
So hang
on,
the
GOAT
Wyatt.
has absolute.
Hang on. When a definition does not have a name attached to it, what is your definition of the GOAT?
I think the definition of the GOAT is a true, would be someone that's a game changer, once in a generational talent, once in a lifetime talent, and I think that the GOAT has to have leadership capabilities. The GOAT has to have winning capabilities and scoring capabilities and playmaking
so LeBron
capabilities.
Has one out of the last 6 that you've mentioned.
LeBron has every single one of those that I have just mentioned.
Okay, yeah.
He has everything on the court. But as of late, though, why I have to agree with Combs and a lot of people in the chat, his off-the-court antics are kind of like dragging him down. It is kind of clouding his greatness, to be honest.
No, so I do agree with everybody. I think that LeBron James sometimes can go a little too far politically and say some things that he shouldn't, and absolutely that, you know, I don't agree with everything that he says. But at the end of the day, politics aren't on the court. Politics have absolutely nothing to do with your basketball.
All over the NBA court.
Well, no, it is.
All
I'm just
over
saying
it.
politics
They're
has absolutely
literally
nothing to do
written
with your
on the
basketball
court.
skills. It is, yes. But I mean, what I mean by that is politics has absolutely nothing to do with how good of a basketball player you are. You could be a social rights activist. You could be a presidential candidate. It doesn't matter. How you play on the court has nothing to do with your political views, ideas, and agendas.
We've had this argument all the time. LeBron, first of all, LeBron's not even the GOAT. It's Michael Jordan. LeBron's not even the second best player of all time.
Stop it. Anybody
He's
who
not.
knows what a basketball is knows that MJ and LeBron are 1 and 2. That is not even debatable.
I won't even. I don't even know if I can compare LeBron James to Kobe Bryant, let alone Michael Jordan. So no, I'm sorry, but
So, Combs, you are associating with names there to the GOAT, and you're like putting them in order. So, what is your definition of the GOAT?
I think GOAT is so hard to determine because it's so hard to go through generation after generation and say, oh, well, this player was better than this player, because there's always that argument, well, he didn't have to deal with this, or he didn't have to deal with that, or, you know, the talent of today's players is so far superior to the talent of the players before. Like, I would love to say that Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player of all time, but in my mind, it's Barry Bonds. And you look at, you know, things that have happened and things that go on. I mean, some people would consider Mike Trout to be among the best of the game. I don't even think Mike Trout's top 10. So there's just, I don't know. There are, it's going to be hard. It's always going to be an argument, because to determine how a player is better from one generation to the next is so tough. But the definition of GOAT to me is just a guy who, you know, really shines above the rest, who a lot of what Wyatt said. He's got to be a leader. He's got to be a guy who always shows up in the shining moments, maybe not disappear in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals. He's got
LeBron has never once disappeared in any playoff series.
He does for a game or two, but not the whole.
He has never. LeBron's final stats are incredible.
What happened
His
when he played the
teammates
Dallas
fall
Mavericks?
apart.
What happened when he played the Dallas Mavericks?
We've talked about this before. The Dallas Mavericks is the
James
one I will give you. They should have never. And no,
Okay,
the whole
so you
team
just
disappeared.
Said never, and now you say, well, the Dallas Mavericks are the one that I'll give you. No,
One time, yes,
okay,
one time.
Yeah, but one time is not never, is it, Wyatt?
Okay, you're right. One time is not never. Yes.
So, all right.
Okay.
You know who's never disappeared in an NBA Finals series? Michael Jordan.
Do you know who's disappeared in the playoffs multiple times? You know who's had losing seasons without Scottie Pippen? Do you know who has not even been able to make it to the finals? You know who's not even been to the finals as many times as...
Anyway, so now that we got that out of the way,
That's what I thought.
So
God, I hate him.
So with that being said, like Stacey basically says a GOAT as a person that is good both on and off the court. So somebody like Tom,
Right.
like Tom Brady, he does it
MJ
on
was the
field
greatest
and-
off the court. He got his dad killed because of gambling. He was such a great.
Hey.
Wow.
It's true. What? Somebody's got to say it.
Wow.
Okay? Somebody's got to say it. All right? He got his daddy killed because of
Wow.
gambling. Let's be real here. You don't just find somebody dead in a car in the middle of the woods while your son has millions of dollars of gambling issues. Somebody had to say it. Somebody had to say it at some point. I'm sorry.
So let's go ahead and go to the next shop talk here. I cannot scroll up far enough to get that comment, but I do have it wrote down here. And Michelle come out and said, "Did you guys see that record-breaking catch that Gronk did at Arizona
Love Gronk.
University? He basically caught a 600 yard pass. Like so they basically dropped a ball from a helicopter and he caught it, which broke a world record. But I want to do one better. Did you guys why your favorite show is Peyton's Places? Did you see that pass where he threw it off of a skyscraper into
Yes.
like a lawn and like?
It's like episode 3 or whatever, and it's in New
Right.
York. Yeah.
What do you think would be harder to do? Make that catch off of a skyscraper into like a field, or a catch from a helicopter?
Probably a skyscraper, that situation, because and I think the data will even show it too. I think in that show on Peyton's Places, they missed it around 10 times, maybe 20, somewhere in there, 10 to 20 times. Gronk only took 3 tries. That was it. And then he caught it. So I think that also shows part of it.
Well,
I
how
think
tall was
the
the skyscraper?
It was a couple hundred feet, like 200, 300 feet.
Yeah, but the thing is, whenever you throw it off the skyscraper too, you've got objects like they were in a park. There was like trees and cars and like other buildings in the way and stuff. I mean, Peyton was having to maneuver this ball literally perfectly straight down to his receiver on the ground. I mean, it had to be a perfect pass.
600 feet compared to 200 feet.
Yeah, but you see, there are different aspects here. Like, they were just dropping a ball from a helicopter.
Yeah, they just dropped it straight down. Peyton actually had to throw it.
Yeah, so with the skyscraper catch, there was elements involved. There was Peyton, then there was Chris. It was Chris Carter, right? That was catching the ball. And then
I think
you know,
so.
as you throw the ball, you know, you have the speed of the ball coming, and then the gravity, so it makes it that much faster. And just dropping straight from a helicopter, you know, like it's maybe like yes, there's wind and it's going side to side because a football just doesn't fly straight. But I mean, I give the multiple factors more of a harder catch. That's just me.
Michelle only likes it because it was I was going to say LeBron James because it was Gronk. She
Gronk
loves
is the best,
Gronk.
man.
She loves everything Gronk does. She posted it on my Facebook page earlier, and she just look anything Gronk could have caught the ball from an underhand toss from 3 yards away, and she would have posted it and been like, "Look at this guy catch this." She just likes watching Gronk move. Period.
Why?
She doesn't
Like,
even care.
What is so fascinating about Gronk that makes him so like appealing?
He's just
He's
a
Gronk.
goofball.
He's the
Yeah.
ultimate party boy football player.
Yeah.
He's
And girls
Gronk.
just
He's
think
just
he's hot.
So
I don't know.
basically,
He's super muscular.
Basically, what you're saying here, Wyatt, is Gronk is a frat boy, right?
yeah, but incredible
So
at football.
why is she marrying Combs the exact opposite?
Wow.
No.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
fair
I
question.
grew up in a college town next to a army base. Army guys and frat boys fought all the freaking time because they were battling for the same girls, you know, and that kind of thing.
Who wins, Combs?
Army people win all the time because frat boys get drunk and they can fight anybody.
Who wins, Combs?
It's
Who wins
military
what?
people.
Me versus Gronk?
No, frat boys versus army guys for
Military
getting
people
chicks.
win all the time.
Yes.
Wyatt, you're not very
That
good
wasn't
at that game.
that wasn't
I know,
even
are you?
funny.
I know, he just said yes. So
Why are you just mad because you can't win a fight? Are you just mad? 'cause
once
you
I
can't
say
win a
anything, I'm gonna
fight?
get muted.
We won't meet you.
No, I'm
don't
asking
believe
you for
you.
real. Look, my hands are right here.
Have you ever won
Hands
a
up,
fight?
Buck. Hands up, Buck. Hands
I'm
S
doing
with an
the
S.
mixer. I'm doing the mixer.
What do you push a button and leave it?
No, I have to cue it in and out.
Have you ever won a fight, Wyatt? We don't care. Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Okay, Wyatt, seriously, have you ever won a fight?
I'm a
Got him again. All right, guys, have a good night. After Hours show is starting. We live right now on the After Hours. See you then.